Welcome. This is Astrology Insight Now, a weekly forecast program with astrology and other ways to help you make the most of your week and to heighten confidence for daily life. It's run by Pamela Cuccinell, that's me, the astrologer, and I invite you to find out more about my work at insightoasis.com. I look forward to your joining us every week. Please share with your friends, and here we go.
So after last week, I'm happy to report that the week of August 11th might be a little less challenging for us, ideally most of us. The date I'm first looking at is the 11th, Monday. The times I'm going to give you are Eastern times, so depending on where you're hearing this, you may have to adjust times. And the moon is in the sign of Pisces as the day begins. It goes void, of course, at 2:55 a.m., and then it goes into the next sign not until the next day, Tuesday the 12th, when it enters Aries at 6:33 a.m. in the morning. So let me talk a little more about Monday. Now, ordinarily when the moon is void, of course, we suggest that you don't want to start anything new. It's best to work on projects already in motion, wrap things up, meditate, contemplate, do things that basically are about recharging you, but not engage or start a new conversation with someone you want to do business with or broker a contract with. That being said, this is the day that Mercury also goes direct. It goes direct at 3:30 a.m., again, Eastern time. So the entire day, what we've got happening is Mercury is stationed, gone direct, so it starts to, from our perspective, move in a way that's more in alignment with forward motion. The moon is void, of course, in the sign of Pisces. Now, when the moon is void, of course, in the sign of Pisces, there is some nice juice that's happening. We are in a period that feels kind of fruitful, that we want to expand our mind, that the arts and anything meditative, therapeutic, expansive is delicious and attractive. And it basically comes in and it's almost as though it hydrates us with a sense of inspiration or possibilities, which many of us could use at this point in time, because a lot of the messaging is so negative and heavy that the idea of inspiration and buoying up and how can we help and connect is a lovely thing to tap into. And so Monday looks to me as though that kind of juice can be flowing in. So pay attention to what you might hear or see or connect with that leads you in a way that feels a little more expansive, buoyant, creative. And those are things to follow in this time that can feel like an assault on overall humanity. Really can. The other thing that happens at this point in time is there is a picture in the sky between Jupiter and Venus. It's what we call a conjunction. And with that energy, Venus and Jupiter, these are planets that have to do with abundance, a sense of what we deserve. When they're connected together, the flow is very, it's available to tap into. It's always available to tap into. But at this point in time, there's there's kind of a sweet spot, a heightened ability to reach it. Even those of us who are more negative or just gloomy might feel or get a sense of the sun breaking through the clouds. So overall, I see Monday as being a pretty yummy day. And we are now in the waning moon cycle, but this particular week looks as though, especially if we did the work and the things that we had to put in place last week when I was talking about moving towards the culmination of that full moon in Aquarius. So what we can start to enjoy or tap into this week is following through with whatever conversations or what was introduced at that point in time. Remember, Mercury was retrograde last week, has been for the past few weeks. So this week is when we can start to move and build momentum with some of the things we might have gone over or revisited and want to approach in a new way. Tuesday, the 12th, the moon enters Aries, as I said, at 3:33 a.m. And the next couple of days now are really charged with fire energy, initiation energy. And so we may notice that there's a quick intake or a speeding up of things that had been kind of on the back burner when Mercury was retrograde. And now if we were inspired or the juices got going, we're really ready to start leaping into more forward movement. And overall this day, Tuesday, is very jazzed for making connections, getting things off the ground. The thing you want to notice is around midday, tempers may be a little short. Some people may be a bit volatile. You certainly want to avoid anything like that. If you're feeling frustrated or as though you want to push too hard at something, it's a good time to take a nice, decent lunch break. Just sort of sit back, contemplate, see where you're at. I mean, the Aries moon, remember the sun is in the sign of Leo now, so that's a lot of fire energy. And so when those two lights are both in fire sign, we can feel very exuberant, we can feel very inspired, we can feel very on. For those of us who are more water earth oriented, so different energetic makeup, it may feel like, wow, you're coming on too strong, or this is hotter than I can handle. So just know midday, it might be best to tamp some of that down energetically. We're still on turning up the gas momentum, but you don't want to have it blow up. You want it to be a nice, easy process where people are able to work with the fuel that is being generated. So a highly productive day when we pace ourselves to be paying attention who is around us so we don't run anybody over or come on too strong. Wednesday the 13th, similar energy, the really high productivity point where you can reach out, renew, reconnect. When I was talking the past few weeks about keeping in mind the retrograde of Mercury and how conversations, connections, contractual ideas may not go where you want them to or be picking up as much steam as you would like. On Wednesday, the 13th, it's a great time to revisit or see what has some ability to go farther, because now we can get back to whatever it was we were studying over the past few weeks. One good thing about the Mercury retrograde is sometimes we can be so excited and act very fast. I don't know about you, but I can look back at my life and I can see times when I wanted something to happen more than my brain and heart told me, I don't know if we need to push this so hard. If it's not coming into place, maybe there's a reason. And so when Mercury's retrograde, it's a super time to really study, reevaluate, consider, is this really in my best interest? I may want it to happen. I may think this is the absolute best rental or deal that I can find, but maybe I need to study the information a bit more or get to know the lay of the land better before I just dive in. So when we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, these are really good days to go over that, and anything that's sort of hit the what do you call it? Hit the acid test or really passed. Now you can start to move on these relationships, contracts, and things that you want to go for. Especially Wednesday can get you a very nice return or response from folks. The moon goes void, of course, at 6:54 p.m. on Wednesday. And at that point in time in the sign of Aries, really, really nice to just expend any extra chi you've got built up so that you can have a good night's sleep, dance, take a walk, run. I mean, whatever your normal exercise body routine is. You don't want to push the envelope too hard, but just it's like we're just emitting the last energy so that we can truly relax and just enjoy the evening and set ourselves up for a nice evening's rest. On the 14th of August, this is a great day as of 9:22 a.m. when the moon enters Taurus to be aiming or finishing whatever goal or projects you've been working on for a while, or at least get to a point of this is where I want to take it before we hit the next lunar cycle. Not necessarily finishing up, but just putting a lot of focused energy into it. The caveat or thing to notice here is midday, early afternoon. We may find ourselves in a bit of a power struggle or something that we're trying to work out. Now, this occurs, it can be within us personally, where basically what's going on is we're feeling that we want something to go a certain way, but we're not really getting the response necessarily that we would like it's pushing. So here's the thing. Moon is in the sign of Taurus. And one thing about Taurus energy, especially when the moon's in it, is we don't necessarily want to stop doing whatever it is we're doing. We may be enjoying a leisurely breakfast or really enjoying some time in our garden or really working and enjoying a project we're doing. And then we get pulled out of that. It's a sense of, I'm going to, something else is more important. And so the best way to deal with that is, if that's what's going on, is to see in yourself what the resistance is about how you're getting pulled away, if you need to jot some notes down or do whatever you need to do to feel in a better place of allowing the next phase to happen, then do whatever may be necessary. The afternoon in general looks as though we might have to move through different sorts of checks and balances or different detours or things in the way. Not really detours, that's not a good word. I guess the best word would be something that's more what I'm thinking of is an athlete that has to jump over certain things or do certain, like test ourselves in certain ways that maybe energetically we're feeling like, I really would rather stay with what I'm doing than have to do that. So one way this could take place is, let's say on Thursday morning, you've got some project or something you're doing and you're really in the zone with it. You're really like you just feel that everything's coming together with focus and how you want it to happen. But you've got this appointment, you've got this thing you have to do, or your boss or family member says, I need you to do this. So it's that kind of pulling away from whatever it was you were making happen. So here's the thing to keep in mind. Whatever that bumpy period is that may happen in the afternoon, don't fight yourself with doing it. Allow that it must happen. Show up for what it must be. And then tell yourself you're going to get back to whatever it was you were doing. And you will, because you kind of want to keep that focus, that element that was so powerful or enticing for you. But when we let ourselves get so fractured with whatever seems to be getting in our way, we get in our own way. We stop ourselves from our ability to just trust that we're going to be able to get back to it. So trust that you'll be able to get back to it, because you will. And here's the piece of value in this episode that may happen to some of us. And another way this could happen, let's say you're still in the zone, you're still in the project, everything's cooking along, and then we get into the afternoon and it's just not working the way it used to. And so there's that self-annoyance of, why is this suddenly hard? Basically, we are in a place that is pushing us to understand what we can control and what we can't control. And so when we allow that lesson, then when we're able to sit down, get back to whatever we were doing, the process actually becomes more inspired, less effort, because we have allowed the piece of being human, what it is that we don't have total domain over. And actually, the planet would be a heck of a lot healthier, as would communities, humankind, and societies in general, if people weren't always trying to impose their sense of how they want things to be, rather than allowing what might be coming in that can show them a new way of seeing. So by the time we get to evening on the 14th, if we haven't made ourselves too crazy with whatever the other thing might have been that came in, we can actually have a very chill, productive, enjoyable evening. The evening looks delicious to me, if we're not holding on to whatever whatever grudge or grievance or thing that we felt got in our way. The moon in Taurus wants us to restore. It wants us to chew our food, to reflect, to relax, to enjoy the physicality of our bodies however we can. If you're someone who is experiencing physical difficulties, and I certainly know what that's about, it's a time when you want to pay attention to whatever that is instead of fighting it. Like, what do I need now? Do I need to just rest, give myself a massage with lavender oil, take a bath, just listen to some music? What do I need to allow myself to not fight where my body's at physically, to recharge? So a good night's sleep, and the next day, Friday the 15th, really lovely day for, once again, productivity, connecting with friends, loved ones, connecting with your creative process, what makes you feel safe, restored, grateful for your human existence of this life. Garden, nature, be in a space where you can just enjoy the beauty of it. If you're in an office working hard, not seeing any of that, give yourself whatever break you can, be it at lunch or in the evening, just somewhere you can see the sky, nature, the ocean, whatever's around you, whatever's available, a flower. Just give yourself the peace, the recharge that comes from the natural world. Taurus it's the sign related to the earth, to the goddess. It's very, very much about a reminder at some point in our busy days to know that the earth is our home. You are part of this, a child of nature, a child of the earth, and the connection with it is restorative. The moon goes void, of course, at 1:12 a.m. on Saturday the 16th, and it enters the sign of Gemini at 12:01 p.m. I wish that all of us can spend a Saturday morning just enjoying your physical space, what's around you, tranquility. Try not to push yourself too hard if that's possible. If your schedule is really full, see where you can to contemplate, again, a bit of nature or just the peace of your physicality, breath, savor a cup of coffee, something that you love to taste, wear some clothes or something that makes you feel light, loved, colors, all those things. Moon and void, of course, in Taurus just wants to receive. So hopefully you can get yourself in a place where that is allowed, at least in your mind's eye, of saying to yourself, I am open to receive. The moon enters the sign of Gemini, as I said, at 12:01 p.m. And this weekend may be very buzzing once we get to that point. Gemini wants to see what's new, connect to people, talk to neighbors, reach out to siblings if you have them, see what's cooking, get information, stimulate the mind. It's terrific for putting in things in place, organization, finishing up. Remember, waning moon cycle. This is actually the last quarter before the new moon happens the end of next week. So it's a great period to see where we're at, organize, plan out. How can we finish up certain, especially little tasks? So if there are little tasks that you didn't get to finish or do, I mean, I know I have a bit of a list jotted down that I was thinking, I am waiting till Mercury's direct and I'm going to just go through these phone calls, things of making appointments, things I have to do to cross off. So it's terrific if you didn't get to it earlier in the week to just kind of clean that up so it's not cluttering your to-do list. Often with people who are more kind of big project motivated or taking care of a lot of different things or a lot of different family members or details or the simple little like tasks that kind of need to be done, renew this, see that doctor, blah, blah, blah. Those things may kind of get bumped and bumped. So this is a really good weekend to see what you can put into place so you get that all organized for a very, let's just not have that cluttering up your bigger concept brain. Anything that gets rid of the littler detail stuff, that's terrific this weekend. The other thing about this day, especially when we pass the point of mid-afternoon, is that that's when everything can just feel like it cooks and flows really well. So overall, it's see what's happening. Give yourself something that's fun, especially in the evening if you weren't able to do it in the day, and Sunday, because it's a wonderful weekend period to tap into childlike curiosity and give yourself the delight of what are the little things that you can find that are of tremendous impact as we know them and build them. So it can be as simple as making some time to play with neighbors' kids, your own kids, grandkids, or put yourself in a place where you remember something you like to do as a kid. Not every child has a wonderful childhood experience. And sometimes what's tremendously healing or lovely to do is to reflect on something that didn't get pursued or explored in the way you might have liked it to because of something you weren't allowed to do or something that was very heavy on discipline or just opportunity. If you can give yourself this kind of experience of, let me just spend a day where I'm just at the beach or doing something that is just a little more like testing things that feel a little exciting and also just super, super fun. That is a terrific way to spend, especially Sunday. Just, I'm going to tell one quick story before I go. There was a courtyard when my kid was growing up that the neighborhood kids would all run around and do things in all summer long and sometimes winter, depending on weather. And I had this big jar that my daughter would run around and collect fireflies in. Well, this boy was visiting from another country and he got very excited about doing this, collecting all the fireflies, et cetera, et cetera. And so at the end of the evening, this jar was full of these wonderful fireflies. And my daughter got to her favorite part. And that's when we released them. And they all flew out of the jar. And the boy who was visiting, he just couldn't believe it. To him, it was, why would we do that? But then, in just as quick a period of time, he understood and he was delighted.
You have been listening to Astrology Insight Now. Please share with your friends. And if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so at astrologyinsightnow.com. Have a stellar week, and we hope to see you next time.